as much as I am work under construction, I keep on evolving, right? I keep on evolving and I keep on becoming different versions of myself. Books are still coming. Businesses are still going to mushroom in my name.
Funibeka, you remind me so much of Uazi in terms of being particular and petty about izinto.
Yes.
Whether it's food, whether nobody ndolina. And I've got a story to tell her about le. Sasamba so wabini so go gig Boxback. And we started talking about Indoyo ngafuka kukweli public transport. And it was so funny to me because I didn't understand it with Uazi. Uazi akayifundo public transport brother wam. Now awuyifundo public transport.
Yeah.
And you
and at the time I didn't even have a car.
You didn't have a car. What was the thing behind that? And now it's what, 4 years later? You're not no longer there.
I think it was 5 years ago.
Was it
6 years?
2016, I think. What was that thinking? I know nasepatini yako, everything particular.
I'm always
nasendlini yako, it's very nice because you're particular and you're petty. I've got a word for it. It's peticular.
Now, let me tell you, I've always been particular. There's a family friend who just reminded me, I think a couple of years ago, I remember at your 10th birthday party. Sasiqala thina ezilalini ukuba sifoswe ukuba sitye ngefork and knife. Apparently, I said everybody makanje ngefork and I don't even know why. Said that, but abantu batye ngefork and knife. Noma khulu wam notatomkhulu wam because it's what I wanted. And I think at that time, I was now starting to be recognized on TV and on television. And started doing Sunday Live, and that's what I realized was that actually ubuso bakho noba buyakhumbuleka because nanibona noba ndidisguisile. And it just, I think omnye umuntu can interpret it as impakamo. It's not impakamo because I grew up in the public transport. But because at that time, and it's something I need to emphasize, I was, when you are underpaid, I was underpaid and I felt at times I was exploited. Yes, I'm being given the platform. And I remember somebody used to say, when they're exploiting you, exploit the platform. It was a nice thing to say. But it was not practical to me. And I hated the feeling of being a Texini and having somebody ozauti, I don't know what about it. And that's why I'm saying and it was not impagam, but I think it was coming from the fact that I know I could do more, I could have more, but somebody somewhere is depriving me. I mean, at the time, I'm at the SABC at the time, I was the first person, and this was a particular person, may his soul rest in peace. But this is a person who was so deliberate to deprive me of opportunities to grow at the time. And you are young, and I was super talented. And you are always told you are used to fill in for other shows. And I hope somebody who's watching this who's in the creative arts understands. But I actually went through this. Yes, and when I heard that he had died, I was actually so sad. Because when that person now left the SABC, when they retired, he said, "You are the future of broadcasting." After depriving me, and I actually broke down in tears, Dini. And it was I wished I could call everyone. So at that time, yes, I was working. Yes, I was on this TV. And you know what was also making me bitter was the fact that I had grown shows, and the broadcaster is getting in numbers, but and then you walk into a taxi after that long day and that frustration and the fact that you are broke, and you have somebody who recognizes you from TV. That's the last thing I want.
And abantu bane impression yoba once ube se TV, once ube se so abazu understand ngokuqala.
I started making money sephumile TV.
You feel like you need to explain okanye even though bazakubuza and you don't want to explain.
Babe nibuzwa itomnye, ngesuthu ke futhi eJoburg. Muthi wa TV. Uthula la.
no.
You know, and you have to smile and whatnot. That's why indeed, I so hope you masks zazi in gelak. Sometimes discuss so I think that feeling came from that at that time. It wasn't about bamhlambe ndinyatsa abantu abakhole public transport or ndiceba ndiphakamile because I'm on TV. It was coming from a place of dissatisfaction. It's like buzbaqe uhlala ku back room ubusazi into kubana with the quality of his skill and the experience I have, I could be doing more, and I'm worth so much more.
You speak so much about uThixo and indlela okanye indima ayidlalileyo ekuvulekeni kwendlela yakho kwi-broadcasting nakwi-career yakho nje as a person ekhuleni kwakho. And you also mention abantu who also played a role. I truly believe uThixo usebenza ngabantu. That's what I believe.
You
mentioned uBongani, you mentioned uLisa, you mentioned uNonala, bakhona nabanye mentioned bebekuncoma. But now you also played a role kule ndawo ndikuyo ngoku SABC ungena kwawo. And I have a feeling lo tata ungafuna umbiza kulo tata wadithubela kuyo. So mna ndihlala kubhuti wami, he's so frustrated.
Yes.
Ndihlala kuye udikiwe ndimba fundini khawuphaka uyofuna umsebenzi awuzuhlala nje Joburg. And I think because of frustrations zakhe usemhlobo Wenene nadibana pha wathi hey Spitch khawenzele lapho mfundini noba kudikiwe azi xa sedikiwe udikiwe. I don't know if ndathetha nawe kanye wena wandinika i-contacts zalo tata wathi khawuye kutata othile uyothetha naye umniki CV yakho. Ndaya kulo tata ndingakhali. Ndaya kulo tata ndamnika lo tata wayithatha i-CV wayijonga wathi okay ndizayinikela umuntu othile. Cut a long story short, lo muntu othile wandifaka SABC. Forever grateful to you for that. And I always feel like I need to do something in Yimini that will mean how much I appreciate you in my life. I-role yabantu abayidlalayo to empower abanye abantu, nawe uyayidlala loo nto leyo. Continue doing that. Continue inspiring abantu, because abantu look up to you. I remember bendigwi party yakho ngoku. Was it your 31st or your 30th birthday?
31st. Oh, well, let's call it a 30th.
And I was a bit emotional when they were talking. They were like, wow, man. Bantu bathetha kamnandi, and it's important abantu bathethe kamnandi ngawe usekhona. Okay, you've moved on from the public life ngoku kwa government.
Yes.
How was that transition? And I think it's very important into sebenza kwa government. Abantu bane impression ethile ngo government. Baya kusetshenzwa kwa government. But how has the change? I know there's a lot of confidential issues with our government communications singangeni into zomsebenzi. But how has that transition been? And you've lived in so many cities, man. You've lived at Pretoria, Abuhlala Corner, you've lived at Joburg, you've lived at Monty, you've lived at Ekapa. Which one holds a dear spot in Hliziyweni yakho?
You know, Cape Town will always have a special place in my heart. You know,
nabelungu baseKapa bavela kwi-pictures zakho kwi-background. Cape Town will always have a yes. Nalapho, by the way, bekia wakho ubuluko osikhathazayo. Unentsobi yobuluko khona pha kwi-family. Mhlambi bayabona izinyanya zabo apha ku. Yes, Cape Town.
So Cape Town will always have a special place in my heart because Ekapa, like I said, when I went to work in Pali at 22, I got to experience, you know, the indawo that allows me to, yes, do my work, but at the same time enjoy, you know, have a social life and have variety and calm. It can be calm. There's a very calm energy about it. And in as much as people think I'm a fireball, yes, I'm a fireball. You know, I've got a lot of energy and all of that, but I'm very
stubborn too.
No, I'm not. Not stubborn.
And I've come to a point, Apple, if kukwindo esingavani ngayo, I'm like, okay. Whatever.
You let it go because you know Bantis are win. I'm going to prove you right.
Is not allowing me to get into such arguments.
I'm actually happy that you are actually now owning your age. This is a big step.
Yes, Cape Town is calm.
Cape Town will always have a very special place in my heart because it allowed me that. Plus, I think I just grew in so many ways. So that, and the change moving to the public sector, I think when I turned 30, and to me it was the year 30, I've always checked in Dokmana with decade etile. When I was 21, or when I turned 20, if you are kumlagon didn't dandy say I was an intern, the practice in journalism, IT web and whatnot. I knew in Dokmana E20s is for me to try as many things I want to try, risk as many times, but at the same time open doors as tile for myself. And at the age of 30, what I knew for sure was that at this age right now, I don't want to still be on Umhlobo. It wasn't just about Umhlobo, but it was I needed a change, yes, because I had been doing broadcasting and I had an opportunity, great opportunities as well. Doors opened at me, on me, and both on current affairs and then talk, and then Umhlobo as well, which is lifestyle. And I said I want to, and what helped me was that background, yes, Parliament, the fact that I started in communications and research. Then when I thought of a change, I said, I want to actually invest myself into something that is growing. My 30s are basically about growing myself. So I want to grow. I've proven to myself, because Ndingumuntu who likes proving to myself, I've proven to myself that I can do this broadcasting thing and be actually quite good at it if I'm going to be nominated on DSTV Viewers' Choice Awards, but that's a story for another day. If I can grow shows and leave them with millions as Tile, that's a story for another day, but it proves that I can actually do this. And I wanted to move into a space that is going to ground me and that is going to teach me new things about myself. And hence I moved to government communications. It's more like a full circle because I started there. So at 30, then I returned into government communications, of course, at a different level and different environment altogether. But it's always been about me, about growing myself, giving myself a new challenge, and here we are.
Siphume kwinto zemisebenzi, into ezibhorayo ne-life stories zakho. Ungumuntu othanda ukwenza ntoni nje in your spare time? What gets you going? What excites you? What are your passions? What do you collect? What beautiful art pieces here.
I'm a collector of beautiful things. I love beautiful spaces. I love beautiful houses. I think when I was buying this property, I was so particular with agent. I said, I want a place like this. I want a staircase space and down etile. I want my garden to be where, I was very particular. And why in because I think because he kept on sending me houses. I don't want this house. My brief was very particular, Yeah. So I'm a collector of nice things. I love art. I love fashion. I love cooking. I'm into different things as a lifestyle. You take me into, one thing now, on weekends, I need to have something that I do because my work is very demanding during the week. I need to find something that is out of my work. And I thought in Dokmana, I actually I might not go to a culinary school to be a chef, but even if I do go to a culinary school, not to be a chef, but just because I love cooking. But more than anything, I want to master the art of it. So because I'm a perfectionist, and I thought in Dokbana, and then I want to do the interior decor. I'm very passionate about it.
You're very good at it.
So thank you. And I thought to myself, now I want to defund and de-masterish. Because same thing, I always tell people, but when I was in broadcasting, I was very confident in myself because
I've got an issue with, I don't know, this is how I feel about art. I don't think art here fundelo.
Yes, you are born with it, right? You are born with the ability, but ukuyifunda, it gives you an oomph extra, ne? Because if uyanje ngetalent, unfortunately, you're going to have limitations. But if you've gone through a training of sorts, it's like if but if uyofundela ke ngokucula, ufunde the skill and the art of music, you'll always be a step ahead than most people.
Okay.
And that's what I believe. So I like going out, I like chilling with my friends, but I've got a very I like my space a lot, but yeah, that's basically me. I'm a lover of beautiful things.
I can see. Ndichilo ke bantwini ba ndizathetha no Spitch Nzawumbi namhlanje mabaphose imibuzo abafuna ukubuza yona.
Yes.
Osibali bam bafakile nabo. Usomila pana ufuna ukwazi together with ulinewo Phulo ufuna ukwazi. Ask him what his skincare routine is. Usomila naye his skincare. And isibonge nesi skincare.
Kaloku uyi-hater yam wena kwakudala.
Esibaphambanisayo.
Kwakudala kaloku wena uyi-hater yam.
Khawubaxelele.
In fact, ifuna ngixela abantu about how you wrote a song. And then cut my verse out because what in the rapper njengoThembi Theatre. And uThembi Theatre at the time the song ayithi shaya izandla. Iswag up, iswag pha, iswag yonke indawo. Igcwele all over inasiphela. So you've always been my hater, but anyway, that's a story for another day.
Your skincare.
I love, like I said, I'm a person who, I'm a collector of beautiful and nice things. I also believe in taking care of myself. Ne? I like looking good. My grandma used to say, ubuso bakho mntanam, it's more signature yakho. Because umuntu akazukhumbula esasihlangu businxibile. Uqala apha ebusweni. So looks zakho always look good. Xa uvuka ekuseni, vuka uhlamba ubuso bangangena umuntu ntontoni, you know? And wayesithanda ke nomakhulu wami intombi ke thini apha eziphopotha ithini. So I think I've always had an interest in dermatology, the science of skin, and I've seen how when you've got bad skin, how it can even, because when I was a teenager, believe it or not, I had a skin problem. Ne? Into a stage, I was an early bloomer, so from as young as 12, 13, I was starting ukubandibena lawo maqhakuva stage. And my confidence was very low because when umuntu is looking at me, I always assumed babajonge ubuso bami, like they're looking at my pimples. So I then developed as in the cooler, you know, I would even come up with my own, because now I understood the science, that's why I did the science of dermatology. But i-chemical lifike yenze ntoni apha ebusweni. Into zetumato, kufaka itumato ebusweni because it's got i-acid ethile, and the acid ifike yenze zinto endaziqala kudala is homemade remedies, ne? Home remedies. And ngoku umuntu uzakubuza nge-routine. I don't have a routine right now. I think it's a lifestyle. Now and again uzawufika apha endlini ndiblende. I can't, because also I'll be promoting. What if it's a product I like now and then tomorrow I change it? That's why I always tell people I can't say ba I can't. Do you know what also works for me? No, I can't, because I don't have a routine right now.
Okay.
I just take care of my skin. Water.
Okay.
You know? And then I scrub my face once in a while. I will use brown sugar and honey, turmeric masks. You can go check on my Instagram TV. I always share these things.
Okay.
But I don't have a particular routine. I follow it religiously.
Okay.
I don't have that. But also I just think naturally, genetically, I come from a family of people with good skin. And yeah, it's one of those.
Uphathiswa Siyoyo Nqini Mekuto uyabuza, looking forward to this conversation. He seems like a happy guy. Wenza njani? It seems like nothing gets him down.
Umhlobo and bena uyawazi uphathiswa. And this is the thing, Dinano, and I understand where Uphathiswa is coming from. Firstly, is social media, we curate the content we put out there. And this will ne ku social media. Number two, having been a person who was on radio, I think I already came trained, because when you're in broadcasting, uzawuthi gowa ngoku mandithi ubutshutshiswa lityala ngoku ku-ad break okanye umuntu akufonela akuthuka axela iindaba zakho. Or besides that, ngoku niyi-crew niyaxabana because uthi le light iyanditshisa kuthi ayisuka khawume ngelight ntontoni. When count down, you switch from that mood. Funeka uthi welcome back, wamkelekile kwakhona obuqonda ngaphakathi ne. So I think I then mastered that, and it's not faking. Uzothi omnye umuntu mhlawumbi uyafaka. No, I think I mastered choosing which emotion to project and to give out there. So umuntu uzawuthi your speech is always happy and whatnot. And I've had a lot of people mhlawumbi adibane nam in a very bad day. I remember this one lady in Cape Town. She actually went on Facebook and she said, he's not what I expected and I had in mind. Udibene nam kwagqirha ke lo mntu, ndiyagula, andiphangelanga nokuphangela. And she wanted a bubbly speech. And bubbly speech was not there, you know. And I even respectfully said to her, Sissy, not today. I'm so glad ne? But I was really not well. She didn't take it well because Yena was from a speech worker who's always joking, who's cracking jokes, who's laughing. And so I understand where she's coming from, but I have my sad days like anyone. I actually think I have a lot of great days, but I always know how to pull myself out there, you know.
How do you pull yourself
I always look for something positive to look forward to, or out of this situation, what is the best we can take? That's what I always tell myself. What is the best we can take out of this situation? And I will obsess with that good. That little light that I see from that situation is what I'll obsess about. Even when my day is bad or when I was going through the most during when I was talking about my early career days, nobody knew because I still gave my personality to people. I was still myself. And I think also my personality is quite colorful and loud, and that's what helps me.
Kukho into epostwe nguThandeka Mandleni. It's not really a question, but besendibriefile ngayo earlier on. Bathela ngezi zitya singazuzi lento zinemizobo. Ithi lento isitya sakwa uyibize ke soze ndisithenge.
It's a comment. My humor comes, I don't even want to, because firstly, it took me a lot to, you are funny. Because I always share what's on my mind. Somebody articulated it very well. Do you know why people, I think, follow you on so much, especially on Facebook? Or Facebook, you know.
You are big on Facebook. I was surprised the other day. You had a live and I tuned in. 1,400 people watching. And I just told you how big that is. Because Kukwabanda Bana 500,000 followers on YouTube. But he lives Zabos, Benabanda by 600.
Yeah.
Yours was twice that number.
And he
and
said
that's not your, okay, maybe it is your space, but it's not.
So, and he said, you always articulate, you vocalize. So I think into Ezazikya was just one of many things I say, you know. I will see something, but I think and everything, people always find humor in it. I think I've got, there's a friend of mine, we've been friends for years, and she always laughs when I will never get over your vocab. Yes, cause you've got words that are, and I think in Dokula no makul, you know, dinamagama njengawam, you would know banku speech lo, ubepalapho or ubeteta. So I think also that's one of many posts in the social media. And then people related, because there were a lot of people who were like, thank God you said that, because I've been thinking about into ezitya by eating.
But lo omnye kuya commenta apho andiswa bunwana endandifunda naye high school uthi miyeke net so nezo zitya zakhe ngazifuniyo zizotyiweyo lidabi nje elifana nale isemva kwakho into ibomvu kubantu abamnyama. So awuzifuni ezi kodwa uyazifuna ezi.
It's a personal choice. I don't have to like all luxury brands. Okay. Just like you can come with a luxury brand,
okay.
You know.
So what attracts you to this one in particular, le ibomvu?
Oh, that was a gift. That was a gift from my family, by the way. Okay. I didn't buy that.
Okay.
And even if I had bought that, it's what I prefer. I love that, but I don't prefer the next one.
And I think, what do you think of it? Zase France zithandwa ngumuntu wonke. UTito Mboni uyasebenzisa usomizi.
Yeah, I've got a couple of them in my cupboard as well. Yes, but there will be another one that will come, a luxury brand, and I won't like it. People need to understand in Dokbana there is diversity in choice, and there will be diversity in opinion as well. And I think that's the reason I always, because even in conversations I drive, and I think this is very important, Dean, we are so used to people talking about things that make us comfortable. And I always tell people, I'm a conversationalist. And now and again, I'm going to say things and I don't fear controversy. And now and again, I'm going to say things that will make you feel uncomfortable.
To such an extent, I sometimes call you Puma Silve.
Because I go for Lando, ikoni elephant in the room. Let's address it. Ne? Or ikona lendo, siyayibona, but nobody wants to talk about it. I go for it and I will voice my opinion very clear of it. Just a few days ago, there's something I wrote go Facebook and that.
I think the live.
Yes, where I was explaining that my father died 30 years ago. Ne? If I don't have space to open that relationship. Ne? Now there are people who and that is I articulated where I was coming from. Ne? It's not something that I just randomly said. But there are many people who related to that, coming from both sides. And there's a friend of mine who's the other child who went to try to create a relationship and got this. He called me and he said, thank you for articulating that, because now I understand where they were coming from. Okay. Right? And that's what conversations are supposed to be about.
And you hardly ever hear such arguments being raised.
Thank you. Because and that's what they were saying.
It's a serious issue. That's why I see no because
of such things. And people, I wanted to be very clear of where I'm standing, right? Because even if I were to discover, let's say, but this is not the case, that personally, I wouldn't go kwamthembu because the family yami. You understand? So I was vocalizing that opinion, but at the same time, I was going for the jugular. I wanted to open that conversation because it's a conversation that most people fear. And people are going to say you're controversial. Yes, controversy is there for people, but controversial at times when necessary. And we need to normalize opening a diversion of views. Diversity of views and opinions. And know that at times they're going to clash, but that's the beauty of having a conversation.
How far did it go though, the conversation? Because
it went,
I didn't see the initial post, but by now you worked up and something you felt passionate about.
I was passionate about it.
The conversation.
Because the more I hear the views and the more I saw reaction, that's when I was like, clearly this is bigger than I think. Ne? Because one always talk about, flowery conversations above the surface. We need to dig deep at times. Ne? So I've been taking time. And I remember one time I was writing a chapter and I got to something I had forgotten that happened. And it brought me into that emotion of that time. And I broke down, and I was all alone writing that story. And I thought, I need to take a break. Ne? And I'll come back and revisit this chapter and continue writing. So it's a journey. I'm in no rush. I feel but at the right time, at the right time, it will be published. And that time when it happens will be its destined time. It's anointed and appointed time.
You've reached this position ebomini. And when I look back at the career yako, from the time I got to know you, it seems like a very short space of time.
It does, ne?
Done so much in such a short space of time. But I know it tendency abantu aba ambitious. Bendithetha leto kuba abantu base Transkei, former Transkei, they tend to be, or they come across as abantu aba ambitious, and they tend to achieve whatever they set out to achieve. And I'm bringing this up because of a conversation I had earlier on the program, on the show, on the channel, with Umhlobo Mandambu, who I told you about. Kef is working at Cairo, a top man, Kef, right? You are where you are now, but I have a feeling you are only getting started.
Oh, yes. Oh,
which
yes.
is also something he said.
Mama.
And when I called him, I didn't call him, I think Benteda and I WhatsApp. I was like, I understand why. Actually, it relates to what you've just said.
Yeah.
I've always said he must write a book now. And he was like, it's not the right time.
It's not.
Because I'm only getting started.
Yeah.
Now you're sharing the same sentiments. Clip Jenny Yako Ikalayo, Tina Sibona as a very successful journey. The teeny chapters is land life.
Sure. Hey. Dini, I say this with confidence. There has to be a part of me that touches the world. This can't be it for me. Firstly, I'm a person who believes in Dogmana. We're not called to be one thing in one lifetime. And unfortunately, we have normalized that. And therefore, you spend the rest of your life being lantwetile.
That's one thing I get. I hope and this will train of thought, but I feel like I need to put in something. That's why I always have an issue with someone on Buzaiba. What do you do?
Exactly. I do a lot of things. Ne? I do a lot of things. And what's next for me? Books are definitely, because I feel I'm getting into a space where I'm going to break off my cocoon, and not because I've been trapped or anything, but ndisaphekwa. And I feel, like I said earlier on, that I don't think you ever get to a point where you say, nangu lo mntu I'm meant to be. That will be ingcwabeni lwakho when you are dead, and you're done in this lifetime. So as much as I am work under construction, I keep on evolving, right? I keep on evolving, and I keep on becoming different versions of myself. Books are still coming. Businesses are still going to mushroom in my name. I'm a philanthropist at heart, and I mean I do a lot of work for with charities. I believe in giving back. I'm very passionate about education, and I believe especially with space and the region that I'm coming from, Eastern Cape, Transkei, is Lalini. I feel there's so much that could be done big, because there's so much potential there. There are kids with so much potential. They are naturals. They are born. I mean, just Lalini, Ulizo Kopoga, the rugby player, is one of the people I literally grew up seeing a good location. But how many of us? And I want us to move from a point where we celebrate the fact that you are one, you are the first. That's why even in South Africa, I still get upset when we're going to have the first black woman, the first black man, kufuneka ngoku sibe ku-level where opportunities are so normalized and is needed. So what's next for me is giving different pieces of myself in different avenues as I'm out to other people, and leaving a legacy that will benefit others and inspire others to greatness even long past my time.
Le nto ithethayo of italent, raw talent, nurtured talent.
Yes.
It's so powerful, and Transkei is full of talent.
So full.
One of my interviews bendisanda uzenza ngoku, I was with a young man bendixelele ngayo ohlala eKapa, from eDutywa, left eDutywa very young, 8, 9, wahlala nomama eKapa. The comedy content those guys are creating in Kapa, they're young. He's a second year student, Stellenbosch, she's 20, ulithemba kyakhe. But italente yakhe is so great that abanye abantu who are creating content ngeXhosa have copied eligama lisebenzisileyo for channel yabo leXhosa Nostra to try to get surplus views from that channel.
Yeah.
But what can you do? Nolax, this is something he always brings up. Nurturing talent.
Nurturing talent.
Getting these guys into the mainstream. But let's not stop talking.
You know,
how are we doing
I think also we need to move from a point where sisiteta, because you'll find that there are a lot of people with the same. I mean, I've got friends who've got more or less the same passion. Ne? Some are particularly focused in academics. And we've got a lot of people who are professionals today, who are your big shots in different industries. Be it a teacher, under their wing, be it somebody who said, I'm going to pay your varsity tuition. But we need to move past that and create a revolution of opportunities for abantwana abangathathi ntweni emaphandleni, because it is not every person who's going to have a passion ne-drive ka-speech. Because now I think I've always had fire. There was always something that said push, ne? But how many talents are out there? As it is akujonga, there's just no way I'm going to. There's absolutely no way I'm going to go out there. Ne?
Because basuka klenda usuka kuyi with the same experience.
Exactly. So I think we need to get to a point where we really start a revolution that creates vast opportunities for abantwana abangathathi ntweni. A child that was born and grew up in Joburg is not even akothuswanto because zonke izinto uziqhelile. But there are children who are so natural. They are so good at what they do. Bakhona ku sports. Elaliniam, there's a guy who went to study sports management, and he came back home and he said he wants to nurture these young boys. And I hear that one of them plays for, I'm not really big into sport. I was talking about Ulizo Kopoka. Those are people who naturally had a fire to push themselves, right? How many abakhona abasebancinci right now? And they need to know in Dokbana, Because I remember also some point when I was in varsity and I said to an uncle of mine, one of my uncles, no, I want to do media. And he said, explain it to me. So, and then I got into broadcasting particularly. And I said, I'll be on TV and on radio. He said, zinto zabantwana abakhulele Joburg ezo.
I think of stories sika Steve Harvey.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know stories sakhe ba how he got onto TV. Tishara yakhe never believed him.
Yeah.
And you know environments esuka kuzo kwilali kwilokishi.
People
laugh at you.
Yeah.
Bathe uyaboniswa.
Yeah.
eTVini.
And remember when I said to you ndikhule ndingumntwana oboniswayo. And I think lankani ubuthetha ngayo said I'm very stubborn. It has helped me. Because even when I was presented with every opportunity, you know when you see my life is serving you every opportunity and reason to give up. Obabu stubborn bam would say, do not give up. I remember there was even a point where somebody was offering me a job and it was going to pay me so well. But they said, I need to give up this pursuit I have here and do broadcasting. And I said, no ways. And I remember telling somebody and they said, Upambene. That was a great opportunity. But obabu stubborn and being intentional. Now, some of them, abandwana, don't have that natural ability. They're not self-driven. Already, you're coming from a poor home, ne? And the poverty on its own is very humbling. And I hate the fact that I'm saying humbling because it's not humbling, it's humiliating. That's the word. Poverty humiliates you and it starts working on your psyche and it shoots down your self-confidence. Now, there are many of those ezlalini. They've got the ability. Ngumntwana oculayo uyazi uyacula. Ugood ku-sport, ugood kwinto ethile, ugood kwi-poetry. I mean, just the other year, ekhaya, I went back home and I was doing Thanksgiving and there was this young man from our village. And he's a poet. But the poetry is so different. Nobody taught him that. You know, it's modern poetry. He tells a story. And I thought to myself, wow, dynamite, just a villaging. But Puma, there is nothing that inspires them. So we need to come together as great minds and as creatives and as people who possibly hold keys to iminyango enokunceda abantu abaninzi and start the revolution and be intentional. Kuba sijonge abantwana abasuke emaphandleni. There used to be, when I was young, a teenager, kwakhona into ezifana no Love Life, they would create centers and whatnot. And unfortunately, those organizations and NGOs, they eventually get to a point where funding iphele, and then iphele yonke lonto. We need to go back and look for programs as India. I talk about my public speaking and kwakhona Anglo-American Sowetan Young Communicators Awards at that time. Everybody who was a public speaker or debater wanted to be a part of it. And I always say to people, look, I wrote my first article. I was 18, I was 19. Yeah. There's an article I'm Sowetan Danibhalile who I am and don't after having won kula competition. And years later, I learned in Dokmana funding yapheliswa yonke lonto, you know? And I asked myself, what happens to a young speech in 2021 who just needs to be in the part competition to realize their truest and biggest potential? So we need to do something. We need to move past talking in our small corners and small circles. We need to start gathering minds. Omnye mhlambe is very good in terms of getting sponsors and investment. Omnye is a creative. You know how we can put this thing together. Omnye knows a contact way. If we bring our network, our wealth of network together, trust me, we can singenza into ezinkulu kakhulu.
Ekugqibeleni amazwi ofuna uwathetha kumuntu who looks up to speech, who sees themselves ekule position okanye ekwezi opportunities fana nawe. How do they push themselves? How do they motivate themselves? How do they get to be kule position ukuyo? So
if there is any young person who's watching this right now, as you are saying, Dinikba, it could be a young person perhaps who looks at me and says, I mean, I get a lot of young people also on my social media who say, you inspire me, I'm following in your footsteps and all of that. There's one thing I want to say to you, believe. Because when you believe even when the world is giving you all the reasons not to believe. When you believe, it is a self-validation and affirmation that you keep on giving yourself, even in your driest seasons. So I want to say to you, believe. Number 2, don't stop working on yourself. Keep on investing in your craft. Go get some training if possible. If not, keep on polishing what you do. Number 3, be intentional. Be very intentional. Know into yokubana xa uphuma uyofuna la mathuba, you know exactly what you want. You are very intentional. Awufiki pha uthi, I think maybe, and what, you know, this is what I want. Give me an opportunity, and I want to start. So those 3 things. Believe. Belief will take you very far in life. I'm a believer, and go to in the Bible, all you need is faith as small as a mustard seed to see things happening in your life. And sometimes I understand when you say these things, it sounds like a talk shop. Motivation at times sounds very techy, because I mean, why are you going to tell me believe when I don't have a loaf of bread? I don't have tuition to go to varsity. I don't have imali taxi tomorrow to go to work. But when you believe, find those small things that inspire you and that encourage you even when you're at your weakest. It could be a song, it could be music, it could be reading, it could be meditation, it could be affirmations and reading those affirmations daily. But believe in yourself firstly, and believe that you are worthy. And it is possible. My name is Spitch Nzawumbi. Thank you so much for joining us in this conversation. I love you.